Good morning. So today's planning committee meeting did not involve a final vote on whether to move forward with this data center overlay application or not. Rather, the purpose of today's meeting was for the zoning officer to announce that he did receive an application and let the committee decide if it would go forward to the Board of Supervisors. Within the past hour, we have learned that that application will go forward to the Board of Supervisors, although with some addendum. Now, for a little bit of background, the application that was received included two parcels of land, I should say two properties that equated to 64 acres of land owned by Mr. Collingsworth, and it also included 5 additional properties that were not a part of the application but rather were recommended for the committee to consider as the application moved forward to the Board of Supervisors. Now, the Board of Supervisors, as I mentioned, did choose to move the application forward, however, did not include the 5 properties that were recommended with the application. For a little bit of background, it was last year when the township received an application from Collingsworth, and at that time, the application received did include the properties that he owned, including 5 properties that he did not own or get consent from those property owners to be included in that application. Due to legal concerns, at that time, the Planning Committee and Board of Supervisors chose to not move forward with that application. This is a new application, and as I mentioned, does include the properties that Collingsworth does own, but not the properties that he does not own. That's where it got a little confusing for some residents and even those who live outside the township that are concerned about data centers. As we were standing in the committee meeting today, many questions that were raised by residents and those who live outside the township were whether or not the 5 additional property owners gave their consent or not for the data center overlay. As far as we know, they did not. That is still information that the planning committee is waiting to receive. Other people raised questions about potential ecological, environmental, and health impacts that a data center could prove, specifically on the parcels of land that Collingsworth recommended within his application. Some of these questions are expected to be answered or at least asked once again at a later public hearing that is scheduled for February 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Cleversburg Community Center within Shippensburg. Now, coming up later this morning and later this afternoon, I should say, we will have the address for that community center available on our website, fox43.com, including a link to our previous story in October when the initial application was submitted and rejected. This has raised more questions than answers for some within the community that did attend today's committee meeting. But again, a final decision on whether the parcels of land that were submitted in the application, whether they will be used or not in the data center overlay, that was not answered today. That will be answered, voted on at a later date. Live in Southampton Township, Cumberland County, Robert Stover, Fox 43 News.
All right, Robert, a lot of people were following this one, and it looked like a full house for a morning meeting. But we'll check back with you a little bit later as we continue to monitor this story both on air and online. Thank you very much.